The best piece of personal branding advice I've ever received was from a guy named Larry Winget.
Yes.
And he said, the goal is to find your uniqueness so that you can exploit it in the service of others. Mm-hmm. How do I find my uniqueness? It's almost like saying, how do I find my purpose? How do I find my passion? And this is, now that we've coached hundreds of people, we've been at this for coming up on like 3 years now, and this is all we do all day. We started to recognize a consistent theme and a shortcut. And here's what it is. You are always most powerfully positioned to serve the person you once were.
Oh, yes, it's great.
You're most powerfully positioned to serve the person you once were.
Yes, so I was 100 pounds overweight and I'm not there anymore.
Bingo.
I'm positioned to help anyone who's over 100 pounds overweight.
Do that thing.
I was in debt $100,000.
Yeah, Dave Ramsey, right?
And I got out of it, and here's a process on how I got out of it.
He was bankrupt, and and that's his whole story. And it can be you or someone close to you. So I also think about, we have a mutual friend, Dr. Josh Axe, right? I believe this was the diagnosis. I believe his mom got diagnosed with cancer. And so he went on a mission to learn about food, to use food as medicine. He makes that basically his life pursuit to cure his mom. As a result of that, he starts answering questions for friends. He starts sharing that on social, and now they have Ancient Nutrition. I think it's called Ancient Nutrition, and it's like
massive
a
business.
9-figure business, like monster business. But it came out of not a desire to make money, but a desire to solve a problem. Mm-hmm. And that is the genesis of personal branding, is going, what problem do I solve? What problem can I solve? What problem do I want to dedicate my life to solving?
Yes.
What I would say is, if you focus on the money, you may compromise your reputation along the way.
Interesting. You may do things that aren't of the highest level of integrity, or that you don't necessarily want to be doing, or that might hurt people, or whatever it may be.
You could burn out.
Yeah.
You could hurt people. It's just, if you focus on the money, then you could compromise your reputation. But if you focus on the purpose
or the mission
of solving the problem,
yes.
and you go, what problem can I solve? And think about all the great guests that you have. I mean, not so much the celebrity guests maybe, mm-hmm. But like, the doctors and the psychologists, and
yes.
These people dedicate their life to studying this area of going, I want to help people with this. Mm-hmm. And that's where you start. So you have to find your uniqueness.
And what's that question? What is my uniqueness?
Well, yeah. So the Brand DNA Helix is 6 questions of that. The uniqueness lives at the intersection of those 6 questions.
Yes.
So just to rattle them off. What problem do you solve?
Yep.
Okay. And then what are you passionate about? So you brainstorm the answers to all these questions. And then at the intersection is where the uniqueness is. So what am I passionate about? Then what do I research? Which is, what do I have academic or head knowledge of? And then what do I have results in? So that is, what do I have experience doing? What have I done? That one kind of points to you're most powerfully positioned to serve the person you once were. And then the last 2 questions address the business model, which is, what are the things people would buy from me, which are the paids. There's 5 different basically things you could make. And then you compare that with, what business do I want to be in? And that was where we talked about dares. Do you remember the dares?
Yes, I love the dares.
So the dares is a checklist.
What business do I want to be in? That's the last question.
What business do I want to be in? So the dares is a checklist of characteristics that sort of describe, I guess, the closest thing to a perfect business model, I guess, if there is such a thing.
These are dares.
You're looking for dares. So you're looking for things that are digital.
Yes.
Automated, recurring, evergreen, and scalable. Mm-hmm. So when you go look for dares, you go, okay, it's digital. If it's digital, that means I don't have manufacturing costs, I don't have shipping, I don't have warehousing, I don't have logistics, it's digital. If it's automated, it's self-service. It's like, I don't need a bunch of staff to service people.
Yes.
It's automated. It's recurring, which is they pay and they keep paying.
Mm-hmm. Netflix.
Yeah, Netflix. Yep. And that recurring revenue also affects the overall valuation of a company.
Yeah.
So that can have tremendous, long-term financial impacts. Evergreen means it never needs to be updated, right? So you never have to you build the thing and then you never have to update it. And then the S, scalable means that you can add a lot of customers without adding a lot of infrastructure.
Right.
And so there's a difference between growth and scale. So growth is I can grow revenues, but I kind of have to grow expenses.
Build a team and all this other
Build a
things,
team
yeah.
to go with it. Scale means I can grow revenues and the fixed expenses, the team don't have to grow proportionately.
Small amount maybe of growth, yeah.
Yeah, It's not like a variable cost kind of a thing.
So you want to ask yourself these 6 questions, and the last one being, what business do I want to be in? Figuring out what's the business model.
What's the perfect business model?
For me.
Yeah, and there's many different business models, but there's not a best business model. There's only a best business model for you.
Right.
And so when you're trying to figure out what is my best business model.
Like, I don't want to build a software company.
Yeah.
Because I don't understand building programs and managing it and software. Like, that's not something I understand, and it doesn't excite me, it doesn't light me up.
So
I'm not researching it all day. I'm not passionate about it. All these things. I haven't gotten people results in this software. Maybe in the future I could do it if I had the right partner, but it's not.
Or you just be an investor.
Exactly, I can invest in it, but it's not the one thing I want to drive every day with my time and energy.
Because if you did it, it would be, because building a software company has, top line valuations, I could get a huge multiple, have a big exit, make money, and be happy. And you go, no, I'm miserable doing this thing.
Right.
Because it's not your uniqueness. It's not the design of your life. It's not the reason that you're here.
Yeah.
Because we believe that the things that you've done in your past are hints and evidence and clues as to what your uniqueness is.
Yes.
But also, the calling of your future is a hint and clue to what your uniqueness is. What you feel called towards gives us evidence of what your uniqueness is. And so it's like, if you don't feel a compelling call there for any reason other than like money or something, that's not in the direction that we would advise you go, because it's just not worth it.
Right.
And so when you're looking at what is the best business model, you take in factors like what you said, like, what is my education? What are my passions? The question's right out of the brand DNA Helix here.
What would I want to spend my time doing every day?
Yeah, like what would you do Saturday afternoon at 2:30? Like, if you could do anything, like that could be a thing. That's a place that you look. Now that might not be the answer by itself. You have to factor in how would you make money, and that's why it's like this. These 6 questions overlap, but that's what you're looking for, because it's truth. There's not a right answer. There's just a right answer for you.
Yes.
It's not truth. It's just what's your truth.
Right.
So you pick a problem, you pick an audience, you pick a business model, and then you said, like, how do you build a personal brand after that? So from there, usually what you do is you would extrapolate this into a body of work. If you were going to kind of build it like more of like that expert business, that's how you would do it. But part of the realization, again, coming back to the study, is going, so many people have already built the thing that they should use their personal brand to drive towards.
Right.
They just need to focus on leveraging and building their personal brand to drive towards that thing. It's a formula that we talk about called the reputation formula. Mm-hmm. Results times reach equals reputation. Results times reach equals reputation. Let's take financial advisor, okay? So financial advisors have all of this education. They're a CFP and a CHLC, and they get all these
Series 7,
Series 7,
Series 6.
all these licenses. They have all these results, all this knowledge. The problem is, if I don't know about you, I cannot buy from you.
Right.
I can't do business with you. So reach matters, and your personal brand is the fastest way to get that reach. And a lot of the top advisors in the world, or at least in the country right now, are building their personal brand, and they're driving leads that they're just passing to the team.
There's so many, when people think about personal branding and creating content online, there are so many different things that they could do to build their personal brand. Podcasting, YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, Snapchat, white papers, infographics, photos, speeches, books, courses. There's all these things they could press, all these things they could do. What should they be thinking about first?
Yeah, so the number one thing to think about is, how can I add value to the audience, right? That's what it ultimately comes down to. The strategy is much more important than the technology. How can I add value to the audience? How can I, and your social media strategy is one of the 3 E's. You're either going to educate, encourage, or entertain.